Alright, so boom, wagwan, bro. Welcome back to another installment of Edutainment. It's time we address it. But before we do, let me say one thing. Any dating advice that makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel content with where you are at right now, and doesn't actively encourage you to do something or to take action is fake.
Consultant and now popular dating guru Kevin Samuels is fast on his way to 1 million subscribers, thanks to his infamous "Your Average at Best" video.
Ma'am, you're average looking at best.
Now, millions of people are aware of his brash, straight-to-the-point way of thinking and the advice that he gives to men and women who want to be high-value or attract a high-value man. Today, I'm going to critique that thinking.
Stop. No, you will not overtalk me. You will not overtalk me.
Unfit weed.
Black women are your own counsel. You sit around and talk to each other, assuming that you can fix one another when you're all broken.
To Kevin Samuels supporters, I have tried my hardest to make this video without pride or preconception, so please listen to it without pride and preconception. I've taken a different approach to this in that I try to understand myself why I think Kevin thinks the way he does. I'll also be admitting where I think he's right, because I do think he speaks some facts. Not all facts, but some facts. So I'm sure you know who Kevin Samuels is, but for those of you who don't know, he is a 52-year-old image consultant who looks to help anybody who wants to improve their image, but he's recently become popular as a dating and relationship coach. So before we take a step into the dating guru side of Kevin Samuels, here's a bit about his background. So he graduated with a chemical engineering degree. He has a background in sales. This actually plays a big part in who he is. He has been married twice, divorced twice, and has a child.
I hope when you have children, you don't have to experience that level of hurt as a parent with an ungrateful child.
I will say one thing about the you could say not ideal background, right? I've seen examples of people like Antoine Walker, right? Who was a former NBA player. He made over $100 million during his NBA career, and he ended up filing for bankruptcy. But he's not a financial advisor with a wealth management company. So at the very least, in some cases, you know, the person can at least tell you what not to do. I think that's fair, right? I think you can say he doesn't have the ideal relationship. He's not even married right now, so that's definitely a knock, right? Listen to someone who hasn't done what you want to do, but he's attempted it with 2 black women to that extent, right? So at the very least, he can tell you what not to do. I think that's a fair assessment. So I was gonna add a couple more things. So you know, he is the type of man you could say most women would want, you know, high earner, stuff like that. But I saw a couple other comments here, right? I recall seeing this comment. It says, Kevin recently posted a comment from a female viewer stating that having been watching Kevin's show, she decided to get back with the father of her child after some years. The same can be said for me. The father of my child and I had been separated for almost 2 years, but recently got back together due to Kevin's message. We both watched Kevin's show religiously, and we'd both been taking notes. When I was single with a toddler and trying to get out there as a baby mama, I wasn't taken seriously by men. I was only ever shown sexual interest, never romantic or emotional interest, as I'd been used to in the past. It was really frustrating and disheartening, as I felt that my rich internal qualities were being overlooked and I was being reduced to having only sexual value. I wasn't used to it. It felt really unfamiliar to me. Men speak to you totally different when they have decided that you will be of sexual use only. They speak to you in a sexually driven, emotionally detached, unavailable way. Charm and respect are often non-existent. They're less interested in listening and asking questions, getting to know you, and more interested in talking about themselves. I felt like I suddenly belonged to a new category of woman, one that was significantly lower in value than a category I had previously belonged to. I really got to experience how your overall quote-unquote wife material decreases once you have a child. I couldn't even blame the men. I understood it. I get it. Men would rather reserve their serious relationship pursuits for women who don't have a child or children from a previous relationship. Who wouldn't? As an attractive baby mama, men see you as someone to have fun with rather than someone to pursue seriously. The father of my son and I now have a whole new appreciation for our relationship, and I'm grateful to have left that stressful dating scene. Not to mention the benefits to our son's well-being. Since having two parents around him, facts, there's been a total improvement in his temperament. It's apparent how much more content and at peace he is. It's clear that we did the right thing for both ourselves and our son. I thank Karen. I think that's pretty profound. And obviously, I saw another, I think yesterday's live stream, I saw another comment from a woman about how she thought she was better than her man because she had a master's degree. I'll play that clip right now.
I do have a question for you, but I also would like to thank you because you've helped me appreciate my husband more.
Okay.
I was having, you go up and down through your marriage, and I was having thoughts of, I can do better, I need to leave, but not anymore. I mean, seeing the women that come onto this show and then just hearing them, and me and my husband have gone through a lot. We've lost a child together. We have another child together. There's no other person who would go through me with that. And our second son has just turned 3. So you helped me with that.
You're welcome.
Can I say something real quick lastly? I know sometimes a lot of women come out here and they don't want to believe what you're saying, and they just feel like they are the exception and not the rule. I completely get from a woman because I have my master's. My husband doesn't have a college degree. And
I'm a
for
PhD.
I always respected him. I never disrespected him in public, but I felt that I was better. But then the roles reversed, and after the death of our first son, I stopped working and I started doing my own thing. And I couldn't appreciate until watching that he's a really good man.
Have you told him that? Have you told him that?
Recently, no. I've told him that before, but I do need to say that.
You need to tell him that every day.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you need to go tell him that right now. He doesn't need to hear you telling me without you telling him.
And we've seen this video in the past too, right? Kevin Samuels' advice got me engaged. So we're seeing more. I've seen more within the past year or so of Kevin Samuels' content, quote unquote, helping people. Then I've seen from people like Derek Jackson from the past, he's 8 years of doing his coaching content, right? Or helping people, the self-love guru, so to speak, right? I've never seen this type of tangible results of healthy relationships from advice that I've seen from Derek Jackson in comparison to Kevin Samuels, right? So that's just my little take there.
Get back to that. He owned his own marketing and advertising agency. He's a Christian, having served in about 3 singles ministries.
I was over singles ministry at 3 different churches.
Remember that point for later. He got his start on YouTube about 5 years ago reviewing men's fragrances, and he's got some style, I can't lie.
Uh-oh. Who this?
So after fragrances and stuff, he switched to telling men how to level up, placing importance on things like work ethic in terms of how to generate wealth and be a high value man. So we know he's very straight talking, but it's worth noting that he gives it to men as much as he gives it to women.
How tall are you?
I'm only 5'5". Just turned.
What kind of shape are you in?
I'm overweight, working on it right now.
Okay. You got 2 struggles already. You can't be short and fat.
But I will touch on that later. So then more women started tuning in, and he actually found that women were his more engaged audience. So he switched to talking more about women's issues and giving them advice, which is a great marketing tactic because he is a marketer. After a few years, the viral video, "You're average at best," went viral.
I mean, my body is not average, so.
But ma'am, you please don't make me say it.
I actually did a video on this. Admittedly, I had not watched any other Kevin Samuels content. I hadn't done my research when I did that video. I have now. So Kevin has recently popularized, not invented, but popularized the term high value man. He talks about it a lot. He defines a high value man in many ways. He also says that being a high value man has absolutely nothing to do with women.
High value man has nothing to do with women.
He also defines what a high value woman is. And he very clearly says, first and foremost, a high value woman is proven by her usefulness to men.
A high value woman, more than anything else, it is linked to her usefulness to men.
But we will talk about that a bit later, so stay tuned. So why is Kevin so popular? Well, I will be the first to admit that as a woman myself, I do feel like we can be a little bit sensitive to the truth, and the truth can hurt us. It can hurt me. And so I feel like sometimes as women, we do pander to each other in an effort to uplift and encourage, because we have maybe been oppressed by men in the past. And as a result, we do encourage and we do uplift one another, but we may have bred a gender of delusional expectations a little bit, but that's a whole nother topic. Don't kill me. So I feel like what Kevin has done and why his predominantly male supporters are so supportive is because they're screaming, yes, speak the truth. So I get it.
We hear what women want. Great. Well, I have one question to the women. What do the kind of men you want from a woman? And that's when you get cricket ass quiet.
You can't ask that.
Basically, the answer to that part would be fit, feminine, cooperative, and childless. That, I think at the core of everything, that is pretty much his statement. Be fit, at least be healthy, be in shape, right? Be feminine, be nice to be around, be his peace, as the Twitter people say, right? And then be childless. Overall, your dating results or your dating capabilities will be much larger. You have a bigger pool of men to deal with if you are childless, right? If you're essentially, they say marry before you carry, right? If you do that, more than likely, and you actually vetted the guy, you didn't just rush into it, you pass the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase lasts anywhere from 6 to 18 months, right? You should at least be with someone for at least minimum 3 to 5 years, I would say, before you get married. Just to, so you can see and understand their true characteristic. Like the things they did now, are they consistent with that for a prolonged period of time? Do that. I think if you like that, that's not even arguable, right? Be feminine, be fit, be cooperative, be childless. That is the basic framework. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, if you are a woman, and let's say all of a sudden you are not prioritizing marriage and kids, starting at 30 is kind of late, right? Say you're 30 right now, right? And you can probably gonna date the guy for at least a year, maybe 2 or 3 years, right? By that time, you'll be 33. And let's say you want 2 or 3 kids. You're reaching that geriatric pregnancy threshold, right? So you're better off starting at least focusing on it by 25. 25 is like a good mark. At least by 28, maybe 30, you will already be married, and now you're gonna start pumping out kids. You know what I'm saying? So, and you can avoid geriatric pregnancy and all the other pregnancy risks that come with older marriage.
Man.
So I spoke about this in my binary thinking video. You should check that out afterwards. But I feel like what he's doing is he is speaking to the silent majority, or it might not be the majority, but he's speaking to a silent group of people, predominantly men, who maybe feel that they cannot express their truth in terms of their true views because they will be cancelled. So Kevin Samuels is speaking up for those people. So it totally makes sense. So I think Kevin's breakdowns sometimes can be a little bit necessary, especially in cases, for example, where a woman, a person may not have actually done the maths to determine whether the expectations that they are expecting are in fact realistic. So for example, I could be a woman saying, oh, I want a man to look after me and 3 kids. And then you're like, okay, how much does that man have to make? And then you do the maths and you're like, are you even around these kind of people that make that kind of money? Simple maths like that. So I feel like sometimes these breakdowns do make a lot of sense and are sometimes necessary. So I feel like it's one of those things where the sooner we get a reality check, the sooner we can come to terms with those things, and the sooner we can get the life that we actually want and that's actually achievable. Not to say, oh, let's settle, but actually...
Let me put y'all... I feel like men get reality checked on a daily basis. You get rejected, you try to approach this girl in DM, you try to approach this girl in person, boom, 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 boom. Men's rejection happens up front, right? You get the no, yes, maybe so. Maybe you get the number, she wastes your time, maybe she doesn't text you back, whatever. But woman's rejection is rarely, if ever, up front. It's usually on the back end. You can smash the guy will smash you maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times, maybe a situationship or an entanglement. But the rejection, female rejection, is usually on the back end, which takes longer to come to fruition, right? So many women may be able to interact with these men if they even get to that chance, but they can't keep them, and therein lies the issue.
Realizing what's important and realizing that like social media and celeb culture has bamboozled us into thinking that one thing is important when it's actually not important or even achievable for us. However, and you know what? This is not even a criticism of Kevin himself. This is a criticism of his supporters. I feel like he has bred something in them that I can only describe as an ugly confidence. Just look at the comment section of his videos. I feel like because he's articulate and he has the guts or the confidence to say what he thinks, inarticulate men who in real life would never put a woman in her place, they live vicariously through him. So I don't rate that. I'm a firm believer of keeping the same energy to the point.
I feel like that's more in tune with the red pill addicts we have on the platform. People who just are addicted to learning about female nature.
Since I've been with you, I never went out with no girl behind your back. I never chilled with nobody, bro. I never did nothing to you, bro. Yo, for you to be out with another nigga right now cheating on me, bro, that shit fucking hurt. And I can't do this shit. I can't do this shit anymore. I'm so fucking weak. I'm so weak, bro. Yo, I gotta end my life, bro, because I can't do this shit. Yo, I swear to God, Taliba, I want you to look me in my eyes, yo. This is it. I'm never in my life, I would never cry over another female again, yo. Yo, you out there doing what you doing, bro. I never talked to no bitches, bro. I didn't fuck nobody. I never went on a date with nobody. What you doing right now, yo, this shit fucking hurt me, bro. Cause I never went out with another female, bro. I never went out with another female, and you out there drinking with another nigga. And I know how you get when you get drunk. Just like the last time you went to Philly, bro, you was drunk. And you call me.
Again, this is what I'm saying. It's a beta male talking point because beta males are the ones who are rushing to wife up a woman. You understand? See, guys who are alphas, guys who are actually the top guys who have game. When a guy who has game wifes up a chick or puts a chick in the position of wife or girlfriend, right? He's properly vetted her. You understand what I'm saying? And he's not vetting her just off of her looking good. He's not vetting her on just the fact of, oh, well, she hasn't hit the wall yet. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, she still looks like she's 21. Like, niggas ain't looking at it like that. And see, if you're looking at it like that, you're looking at it as a guy who doesn't really have experience dealing with women. You know what I'm saying? Because what you're doing is that you're jumping the gun and you're trying to rush into a relationship because you're in scarcity. The reason why you're in scarcity is because you don't have the skill or the know-how to get multiple women. So when you find that girl who's that 24, 25-year-old girl who even looked your way and smiled at you, you want to wife this girl up. You start falling in love. You understand what I'm saying? You start making her the end-all be-all of everything. So what happens is that a lot of these guys, they're lusting after the idea of a certain chick, or they're lusting after a particular girl. And so what happens is that their whole existence and their whole fantasy of getting that one special girl hasn't happened for most of these guys. So what happens is like they're saying, damn, all these girls that I want don't want me. So fuck these hoes. I can't wait till they hit the wall. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to hit the wall, you dumb bitch. Fuck you, you stupid cunt.
Women ain't shit. Women do this and that. My nigga. No woman does something to you that you do not allow to happen to you. Shout out to Mr. Lucario, right? He always says, it begins and ends with a man. You set the precedence for the relationship. You are the one who manages the relationship. And men are the ones that start the relationship for the most part. You approached her, you DM'd her, you asked her out. You start the whole situation, and it's your job to maintain it all throughout, right? Like, like people might complain about the high divorce rate, right? Let's say, for example, 80%. What's even led to that point? Did you actually vet this girl? Did you actually date her for like a year or so and see if she had wifey qualities? Or did you only cuff her because she threatened, she gave an ultimatum, she wanted to leave potentially, right? like me, for example. Let me get to my personal business. Let me spill my tea, all right? We're talking to this girl about 10 months or so, right? And then she would just, you know, she found her womanly ways to bring up the topic of exclusivity, right? And I was telling her, yeah, I don't mind, you know, you being my girl. Like, even the first time, like the first couple of times of us hanging out, right? I remember a time when I was here just doing my work, doing some editing, and she had gone downstairs, and then she had washed the dishes for me. Didn't ask her to do shit. Didn't ask her to do any of that. And then I just peeped it. Like, I went downstairs to use the washroom real quick. I peeped she had washed the dishes. So I'm like, okay. Just stuff like that. That's pretty impressive. Not impressive, but like just the know-how to do it without being asked to. Top tier. I could already see the qualities, right? And then when I asked her to get some stuff in the grocery store for me when I'm trying to cook or whatever it is, I could see it building towards that level, right? She had shown consistency, wifey qualities over a long period of time. So we got to the point of, talking about being exclusive. And I told her, I'm like, I don't have a problem with you being my main girl, right? But once in a while, I may want to do some stuff on the side. Obviously, we talked about it. She cried a little bit. Like, it's very I'm not gonna cap, right? It's kind of hard to hear. But I'm like, would you rather me cheat on you, or would it be worse, if you met another guy and then he cheated on you? Which one's better right now? Telling you straight up that I might do it once in a while, or you deal with me or another guy and he ends up cheating on you behind your back. And then I brought you another analogy, right? Would you rather share $1 million with somebody, or keep 6 figures to yourself? I'm not saying I'm all that. I'm just, a regular guy, whatever it is. But I'm like, I'll say the qualities I portray, leading a situation, planning dates, went to Montreal a while ago, just being assertive, having that flirtatious vibe, and just, and if you're a woman dating, right, you understand how many goofy guys there are out there, right? So guys who don't know how to, set a date, don't know how to kiss, don't know how to XYZ, blah, 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 blah. But then after our discussion, talked all night pretty much, I didn't talk to her for like 2 weeks. So I was willing to lose her so that I could stick to my truth, essentially. So for a lot of men out here, right, you're letting women lead the relationship. You're letting women manage the whole thing. And then you wonder why the divorce rate is 80%. You didn't even make her earn the position of girlfriend or the position of wife. Another example, if I give you a flyer, random piece of paper, you're not gonna really care about it, right? But what is the difference between that flyer and your graduation diploma? The flyer was maybe a 10-second interaction, but that diploma was 4 years investment of time, energy, sweat, and money. You valued it because you put more time and energy into attaining it. Come on. Basically, what I'm saying is that if a woman treats you poorly, it is a result of your own actions as a man for allowing it to happen. As soon as you see a sign of disrespect, you acknowledge it, you bring it up, and you don't allow it to fester under the bridge to make it seem as if this action or this activity or this behavior is okay with you.
Where I'm not even a confrontational person. So most of the times, right, I won't even say what I want to say because I know I wouldn't say it to their face. So for example, what I'm saying on this video, if I wasn't willing to, say it to Kevin if he was sat right next to me, I just wouldn't say it. And I just feel like people should keep the same energy in the comment section, in real life, on the internet. Now, here is my theory about Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, in his past, or maybe even in his present, has been a somewhat irresponsible husband, maybe even an irresponsible father. And I feel like he has had negative or frustrating interactions with women and maybe even his child. As a result, he has abandoned or failed in his responsibilities. Well, the main area in his life that he has been successful in is his finances. And as it so happens, we live in a world that prioritizes men's finances and women's beauty. I did a video on beauty standards if you want to check it out. Kevin has latched onto this one measure of success and he has allowed it to shape the rest of his teachings. The result of this has been half-truths that call out everything women do wrong in a pursuit of a relationship or in a relationship itself. But when it comes to relationships, he completely abdicates men of all and any and every responsibility aside.
I just said that. I just mentioned it. It begins and ends with the man. Okay, so this is one very influential, very profound quote. Let me say it real quick. This quote by Robin Hobb pretty much exemplifies this whole thing, right? As a man, A lock does no more than keep an honest man honest. What does that mean? A thief. What is a thief gonna do? Whether the door is locked or not, what is he gonna do? He's gonna try to steal your possessions, take whatever. But that lock makes the honest man second guess even trying to steal your possessions. It's one thing to leave the door open, right? For the world to see your inside. But if you have the lock there, that's another barrier to keep that honest man honest. So as a man, what are you doing? What are you not doing that is making a woman treat you a certain way? What is preventing you from getting a certain outcome? I remember a time when I was trying to get better with girls, right? Mad approach anxiety, mad like just, self-doubt. The first step I did was I gave my friend, I think, $20? I gave him $20. I'm like, I gave him $20 in $5 bills. I'm like, if I don't approach 4 girls today, keep my money, right? Sometimes as humans, we are driven more by pain than we are by pleasure, right? The pleasure was, getting the number, talking to her, whatever. But the pain, right, of losing my money was outweighed my own insecurities. That's one way of me getting better. And then from then on, I think for a month straight, so back in sophomore year, every day I approached like 3 different girls a day for a month straight, just to get over my approach anxiety and be more, have more of the gift of gab, be more fluent in my speech, and to not be stuttering and hesitating so much. So what are you doing or not doing? What are you allowing? What microaggression or passive aggressive attributes by a woman are you essentially opening your door to and unlocking your door for her to bypass? That is up to you.
Aside from financial provision. No responsibility to have a good character for the sake of the relationship. No responsibility in the conception or the responsibility of children in the relationship. And absolutely no responsibility in the success of the relationship, like I said, outside of.
Second part, obviously, don't be having no kids with no girl within that honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase is when everything is rosy, dandy, there's a lot of love, a lot of laughter, a lot of intimate sexual sessions. Honeymoon phase lasts anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. Do not be having no unprotected raw sex with no woman within that 18-month period. You want to see the true characteristics of this person. Otherwise, you are now attached to them for the next 18 plus years, essentially. So wear your Johnny, wear your rubber. No glove, no love. Do you understand? Motibo.
Financial provision. And if financial success is what you want and what you look for in a relationship, then by all means listen to Kevin. But I think Joseph Prince said it best when he said that sometimes we look at success in individual areas as opposed to looking at success holistically. And I feel like you have to look at all areas of your life. So yes, it'll be great to have a healthy bank account, a healthy body, but what about having a healthy character, having a healthy family structure, having healthy relationships? I just think we should look at this holistically. Also, I feel like it's worth saying, I said it in my cancel culture video, but I don't think we should cancel people for things that they did in the past. I've seen loads of videos of people talking about Kevin Samuels' past in terms of how much he made in his 30s, his past eviction, his run-ins with the law, his relationship, or mocking his relationship with his exes and his children. I don't think we should dig into those things, so I won't be touching on all of them. I think what's more important is that we address what somebody is doing right now and the character that they have right now, because I think it's actually good that he's been able to get himself out of certain situations. I think we should all strive to improve and we shouldn't be held back by our past. And what we can do though is evaluate how we think his past may be shaping his current views and his current way of thinking, and that is exactly what I'm going to evaluate in the rest of this video. So Kevin speaks a truth that is true for people living a certain lifestyle, certain kind of mindset, certain kind of viewpoint. So if you are one of the men and women that he's describing, then yeah, Kevin is absolutely speaking the truth. He himself says that the world defines your value. So straight away, I know that me and him are not on the same page, but that's okay.
Who decides who's high value? The market, the world.
But like I said, I put aside my pride and my ego and I listened to his words objectively as I could, with a lens of like realism. And actually, yeah, a lot of what he said is true in the context of like the materialistic, capitalist, Western sort of world that we live in. And if you subscribe to that and if you want to be a part of that, then yeah, some of what he's saying you might need to listen to. If as a woman you agree with Kevin's definition of a high value man, I personally don't, but if you do, then you might also kind of have to listen to his advice, because it seems like a lot of high value men, not all of them, but a lot of them are in his comments saying yes, what he's saying is true. And so if you are a woman that wants to attract that type of high value man, maybe you have to listen to what Kevin is telling us to do.
Basically, a high value man, for the most part, is a man that you respect. Let's just do that. Okay, I think that word is understandable. Is a man that you respect. If you adore this man, if you're willing to cook for this man, if you're willing to clean for this man, give him some bomb toppy, sloppy toppy, you do it out of like without any malice or resentment or any type of like reservation. He's a high value man to you. There are so many see my immigrants. Are they all making 6 figures? Are they all making a certain amount of money? Do their wives not respect them? Do their wives not like adore them, love them? My mom adores my dad. They've been together for like 30 plus years. My dad is not making 6 figures. She loves him every day, cooks for him. Like, come on. That's the basic definition of a high value man. A man that you respect. A man who you see works hard, who values you, and whom you value. And everything else essentially comes as a byproduct. Basically. I think that's pretty fair. And as a woman, this is just basic. Be feminine, be fit, be childless, be cooperative, be nice to be. Just be peaceful. Be peaceful. Based on what I've watched and seen, that is basically the premise.
Is the problem. Remember I said that Kevin has previously served in church ministries.
I was over singles ministry at 3 different churches.
Kevin Samuels says that he's a Christian.
We're Christians.
I think he's a Christian, but he's not actively participating Christian. I think if she's watched enough content, I think she can understand that part.
Chose to be that.
Kevin talks about the church and Christianity, and he uses it a lot, actually, to make some of his points.
I grew up in the church. I was baptized at 5, very well versed in what I'm about to go into.
So I'm led to believe that he is a believer, or he identifies as a believer. But then he says things like this.
I'm openly promoted. I've taken an escort to a company function.
And this.
If you have to have a man that's loyal to you, get an average man. Or actually get a below average man.
And this.
Okay, so we're about to get into the part of the cheating part, right? I already mentioned how, I have a girl, but I still, once in a while, do my thing on the side. If you are a woman watching this, if you want a guy that has no possibility of cheating on you, recall a situation where you dealt with a needy guy. That is the guy that will not cheat on you. The guy that essentially blows up your phone, texts you good morning, beautiful every day, sends you heart eye emojis, blah, 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 all that stuff. That is a guy that will not cheat on you. Guaranteed will not cheat on you. He's always messaging you, always talking to you, always calling you, always trying to see what you're doing. That is the guy that more than likely will not cheat on you. Some guys might be honest, tell you up front. I risked not having her, risk losing her essentially. But for many guys out there, they might do it on the back end. But then there's the other aspect, right? Where women get all this attention on social media, all this like extra validation. So it's like, are you cheating there? Are you entertaining any conversations? Can you show him your phone and there be no possible sign of cheating? At that point, okay, I can see it. But it's not the money necessarily that makes the guy more likely to cheat. It's the type of guy, right? Your prototypical alpha guy, beta guy, the simp guy, right? The guy who's lucky to have you, or are you lucky to have him? If you're in a position where you're lucky to have him, he's more likely to cheat. But if you notice that he's lucky to have you, he's probably not going to cheat on you.
Do high value men deserve the option to cheat? As a man who is a high value man, are you helping yourself if you don't exercise the option? Are you helping yourself if you give your woman, your wife, the peace of mind and saying, yeah, I got high value options, baby, but I will never do it? I'm going to tell you right now, that will be foolish. You need to give your woman, your wife, the gift of being uncomfortable.
So what Kevin's doing here was so well defined by Ruslan as ego duality, separated logic, where Kevin's using 2 different applications of Christianity in different areas of his life. When it serves his narrative of teaching women, he very much pulls up the Bible and what it says about submission, etc., etc.
What needs to happen for you as a woman to happily submit to the authority of a man?
Well, not so much for men. According to Kevin's logic, boys will be boys with no biblically sound accountability for their actions. Now, I do kind of get this logic that unfortunately women tend to be the ones that have to bend to the desires of the man or risk not being picked. And I get that this is because men in our society right now tend to be the choosers. And let's be real, the standard for men in terms of, these things like morally sound, promiscuity, all those kind of things, the rules tend to be different for men and women. And so it seems that flawed men will likely still be successful in love, whereas flawed women are not afforded the same grace. And so if men don't have to change and the dating world kind of is set up in their favor.
Is it set up in men's favor? Hold up. Did I not just mention what I had to do to even build up the confidence to approach a girl? Okay. If you mean on the back, isn't it? Okay. Women have a lot of options up front from the time they're 18 all the way until let's say even 60, to be honest. Sexual options. They always have sexual options. Women always have sexual options. Once you get to about, let me say, 30-ish, 32, 31, that's when their relationship or marriage options start to dwindle. So it's in the woman's favor from 18 to 30-ish. But then once a woman's counterpart, the man, starts reaching 32, that's where the dating scale starts to tip in his favor. Because I remember even just being a kid growing up, right? Teenager. When I'm 19, girls my age, girls who are older than me are not really trying to date me like that. I can date 18, 19, that's about it. But the 19-year-old, 18-year-old can date 22, 23, 24, 25, even in some cases older. Then when I'm 20, girls who are 25 aren't really checking for me like that, right? I can date 20, 19, 18. But then the 20-year-old out here balling with a 28-year-old. You know what I'm saying? When now I'm 32, I can pretty much date anywhere up to 20 or even 18. Probably not 18, maybe 22, right? So to say it is tipped in men's favor, I wouldn't say that, because girls don't have to do anything. I remember a situation. I was hollering at this girl one time on the street, and I was just trying to get her number. No, I don't get girls' number anymore. I give them my number. If you wanna know why I do that, check that video right here, or I'll leave it in the description or pinned comment. So it's a lot more efficient to give a girl your number and telling her to text you than trying to get her number. But essentially, she told me that she hadn't been outside in a month. She hadn't gone out in a month. I'm like, whoa, so I caught you on a good day. Right? So if I go outside every day of the month, who's approaching me? Who's trying to get at me? Who's trying to holler at me? Unless I'm famous, no one's trying to check for me like that, you know what I'm saying? So men have to actively do something to get a result. Women can just be themselves, and whether they're at home or they go outside, somebody's gonna holler at them. So that part, I don't think so.
Why would they change? So the logic is there. But Kevin, please keep the same energy. If you are a man of faith, then everything you preach and teach has to come under that lens. And that is why I say that Kevin Samuel speaks a truth, not the truth. The best and worst example of this is Kevin's explanation for why a high value man can cheat, or in other words, exercise his options. And as a woman, it's my job to ensure that that high value man does not exercise those options. Again, completely abdicating all responsibility of the man.
Ladies, what it ultimately comes right down to is, are you matching your man's hustle? Are you matching your high value man's grind? Are you matching his energy? And if so, you would understand that he has options, he deserves options, and it's your job to make sure that he does not exercise those options.
So by that logic, Kevin,
basically we see examples of this with I'm not trying to use them as an example necessarily, but rappers with baby mamas. Why do they choose to be baby mamas? Why do they choose to keep the babies despite knowing that they might be the 6th, 7th, or whatever baby mama? They see enough value in said person to willingly take on that position. Whether you think is right or wrong is I guess up to debate. But they see value in keeping that baby and linking themselves to that guy. Like me, for example, it's obviously we put in some stipulations, right? Wear a condom with any other girl that I'm doing something with. Don't approach any of her friends, or don't try to holler at anybody that she knows. Don't see the other girl more than once or twice at the most. Obviously, I don't give them my non-sexual attention. They don't get no trips. They don't get no like vacation with me. Just a dick and that's it, right? So it's not so much the money, but it is the type of guy you're going after. And the thing is, the guy that will be faithful may not arouse you sexually, or may not like turn you on like that. But the guy is the reason why he turns you on, because he can get other women. He does have, you know, a certain sense of style, a certain sense of like, knows how to be persuasive, knows how to, you know, you could say, seduce you essentially. You know, it's like, it can be a little dirty talk, a little bit of regular talk. He's articulate. He has a lot of things going for him that make him sexually appealing, which also makes him appealing to a multitude of women. I think it's more so a question of, if he was to cheat on you, right, and you left him, how easily could you replace him? We already know that only about, 15% of the population makes 6 figures, not accounting for height, age, race, stuff like that, right? So, and in beauty, it's not like only about 10% of the population is beautiful. There's many beautiful women out in the world. So let's say you're married to this guy, or you're in a relationship with this guy, and you divorce him, whatever, right? You have 2 kids now, you're older, and are you actually gonna get the same type of guy that you would at when you were 23, 24, 25? I don't know, man. It's a lot to think about. You have to go beyond the emotion and perhaps come to an agreement. I don't know. But the other guy is not as confident. Maybe he doesn't even approach you, or doesn't like. There's something about him that doesn't really like turn you on in that sense. And in that case, like I said before, he's lucky to have you. Which, unfortunately, when a woman's in a power position, I don't know what it is, but the relationship does not work. Just straight up. Long term, anyways. It might work for a little while, but long term, that is the reason why there is the high divorce rate, 80% for marriage.
Then can a high value woman who is wanted by many, many men also exercise her options? Yeah? All right, cool. But women, don't do that. Now, it's worth noting that his faith is not the only area that he contradicts himself in. And it's worth noting that his faith does seem to play a big role in his morality, in his work ethic, in the advice that he gives. So what we're going to talk about is other ways in which his ego duality plays out in his views. So in my research, I actually found myself agreeing with Kevin on so many fronts, but then I also found so many times when he contradicted himself in an effort to continue to sort of push his narrative of total female responsibility and no male responsibility. Okay, one of his biggest contradictions that I kind of mentioned before is his definition of a high value man versus his definition of a high value woman. And I'm not talking about like for like, because I think we've already established that men and women are not judged by the same criteria. But he claims, and many women seem to claim, that they want a high value man. Yet Kevin Samuels says that being a high value man has absolutely nothing to do with women. On the other side, he says that a high value woman, first and foremost, is proven by her ability to get and keep a man. And then goes on to list a whole bunch of attributes that men look for that are synonymous with a woman being a high value woman. Now, I hope I don't lose you here, but if Kevin believes that all women or many women want a high value man, then wouldn't a man's ability to get and keep a woman be proof, or on the list of proofs that he's in fact high value? The same way he so strongly pushes that proof that a woman is high value is her ability to get and keep a high value man.
No. Men, for the most part, struggle to get what while dating? Sex. Men struggle to get sex, sexual intimacy. What do women struggle? They struggle to get long-term relationship from a man that they respect and value. Men, for the most part, are defined by the type of woman that they can get or sleep with, right? Women are defined by the type of man they can keep. It is easy for a woman to get sex. That's why there's no value in it. It is not easy for the most part for a man to get sex. I already mentioned how me at 18, am I gonna get a 28-year-old girl? 28-year-old girl? Probably not. An 18-year-old girl getting with a 26-year-old guy, 28-year-old guy? possibility, more than likely gonna happen. Speaking of which, right, from a man them out there trying to holler at a older girl, simply tell her, listen, sweet one, painting. Meghan Markle did not allow age to stop her from getting with Prince Charles. She did not allow age to block her blessing. I think Meghan Markle is like 2 years or 3 years older than Prince Harry. You know, just mention that. You know, I've been in these streets. I know what I go on. But like long-term relationships for a man isn't that hard to like get if you really think about it, right? Like even if he's a simp, at some point you might get a girl that you could say pities him and actually gets with him in a marriage. She probably is the leader in that relationship, but he can still get her. A woman struggle with getting long-term commitment from a guy that they value and respect. They can get long-term commitment, but not always by a guy that they value and respect.
Or a man. So that is one of the biggest contradictions I found that I tried to rationalize it. I couldn't get my head around it, but it's not the only one. He said some other things. He also said that Christian women must be married.
So I cannot sit there and say I agree that you're saying that a woman should not feel bad that she's not married or whatever. At some point, you need to have a husband if you're a Christian. So what you ultimately said is you didn't want women to feel something wrong. There is something wrong if you're a Christian and don't have a husband at some point.
Now, what he said here is just completely wrong because there are countless men and women in the Bible who are Christians and who are not married, like Jesus Christ and the Apostle Paul, who famously said this. I'm going to read it out. In 1 Corinthians 7, verses 8 to 9, it says this. To the unmarried, which is both men and women, and the widows, I say that it is good for them to remain single, as I am. But if they cannot exercise self-control, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. So Paul goes on to speak about the joys of marriage, but he makes it very clear that marriage is a choice, and as long as your choice is honoring to God, then it is okay. So, just to be clear, it is okay for Christian women not to be married. They have not failed if they have not married. And then another example.
Will they feel fulfilled though? That is a different question, right? If you're 40-something, no marriage, no kids, how do you feel at that point? I think, you know, that is another debate depending on if you care for that or not. Real talk tip, right? A 40-year-old man with no kids is seen different than a 40-year-old woman with no kids. Unfair, whatever, but that is just the basic framework of it.
Of, I don't know if it's a contradiction or just incorrect, but he talks about discernment. Here's the clip.
Discernment. It can be trusted. She trusts her own judgment. So when her man says, we got to go over here and take this risk, her answer is yes.
So yeah, he has the right definition, but he has the wrong application because here he has again, made it fit his narrative and talked about discernment as if it's a woman saying yes to something that her husband says, when actually the definition of discernment is discerning, so deciding, using wisdom to decide whether something is right or wrong. It's not the same as compliance. So not only does he use words incorrectly to fit his narrative, he also does this thing where he moves the goalpost and it's so frustrating to watch, which he gets away with due to his sales background. He has a narrative and he tries to stick to that narrative. And when the narrative is not going in his favor or in his direction that he's planned, he moves the goalpost. Here's an example.
An 8. You give yourself an 8. Who else would you rank in the 8 category as far as like famous people? Beyonce is an 8.
No, Beyonce's not an 8.
Who's the image consultant in real life?
Okay, so you think Beyonce's an 8?
Beyonce is an 8. Kelly Rowland would be a 9. And Rihanna, even with her big forehead, would be a 10. So by giving yourself an 8, you put yourself in the category where Beyonce is.
I'm not an 8.
Are you in the category with Beyonce?
No, I'm not Beyonce.
I mean, we're talking about just with the face.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then what would you give yourself if you don't understand Beyonce is an 8?
Okay, maybe I'm like a 6.
Which is closer to reality.
You asked her to rate herself, and when she gave you an answer that wouldn't allow you to continue with the planned narrative, you manipulated her into giving an answer that would, before you then proceeded on with the conversation.
She's not a 6 though? I mean, if you put me beside Michael B. Jordan, I might be a 6. Is that not accurate? I'm gonna leave it there. I think this is probably one of the better female breakdowns I've seen of Kevin Samuels' content in a minute. Not too many ad hominem attacks per se. It's pretty chill. Is Kevin Samuels a fake guru? I wouldn't say so. I feel like for the most part his advice, you could say, is pretty actionable. Basically it is be fit, feminine, cooperative, submissive, childless. If you do that, I think as a woman, Mr. Lucario, another dating coach that I actually I rock with, he has a morality aside, he has a wife, a girlfriend, and he still dates. But he has a book called "It's Your Fault You're Single," and I think that pretty much sums up a woman's dating life, it is your fault you're single. If you can't get a man, it is, and you want one, okay, let me add that caveat there. If you want one and you can't get one, it is definitely your fault. Because by a certain age, right, 35, 40, definitely, your options definitely dwindle substantially. Basically, I would say, as a man, be confident, learn do whatever it takes for you to learn how to approach women in real life as well, right? Build up your social acuity, be more socially inept in certain situations. If you can't, if you still struggle with approach anxiety, go out with your friend, give him some money, and tell him if you don't approach a certain amount of girls, you keep my money just so that you can get over that approach anxiety, right? It's one thing to DM a girl on Instagram or Twitter, TikTok, I guess that's not the new thing, or Tinder, right? It's not bad, but like, see, I promise you, Mandem, I promise you, the best looking girls will be found in person. I don't know what it is, but the best looking girls, from my experience, like the best situations, even the girl I'm talking to right now, or my girlfriend now, in person. The in-person girls always top tier. I don't know what it is, bro, but meeting girls in person, definitely. So getting over your approach anxiety, being more confident, and valuing the type of woman that you place as your girlfriend and ultimately your wife, right? You don't just give the title of girlfriend anyway, right? During that year, a year of dating her, approximately a year, 10 months to a year, not only if you guys are smashing, whatever it is, you're smashing, we're also testing her, right? Just seeing whether or not she can take direction, whether she is wifey material, whether, she might cook, or she can help you make some stuff, right? Or maybe she helps you with your own business, helps you edit your paper, helps you with help you clean your room a little bit, whatever it is. But essentially, she's providing more to you than just punani, the ussy. By the point that the relationship talk is being brought up, right? You are vetting her. You're seeing whether or not she's cooperative. Essentially, how is she benefiting your life outside of the bedroom? And then the second part is being honest with yourself, right? Are you committed to just being faithful to her, or do you want something more like an open relationship type of thing, where she's your main girl, but once in a while you let her know, right? I may want to do other things on the side once in a while, and let her know that up front before you get committed to her. And if she leaves, hey, she leaves. But you are sticking true to your own standard, or what you want as a man, right? I think that pretty much sums it up. Shout out to Adella. I remember her page used to be cornflakes no sugar. Come a long way still. But yeah, while you look here, if you want to know how to edit reaction style videos off of your iPhone without using a laptop or any type of expensive editing software, watch my past video right here, or watch my other video right here on when and how to pay a credit card bill in order to increase your credit score. Alright, as always, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it, and too much of any good thing is good for nothing. How you lot doing today? Say it with me. I am doing more, saying less, and keeping that same energy. No cap. Flip the script. I'm out. Deuces. Bow.
It's about 3 a.m. and you still want a nigga to slide on you. Lucky I ride for you. I'ma hit up your line when I start up the drive for you. Wouldn't want to waste my time, but you know that I vibe with you. 3 a.m. and you still want a nigga to slide on you.